You wake to a rustling and a large warm hand pressing gingerly into your back. Dazed, you turn over and meet your husband's crimson eyes that are illuminated by the dawn's glow. He takes your hand and you mumble out a morning greeting, but he hushes you, bringing your hand up to his mouth and kisses it. A weight is reluctantly lifted from the other side of your bed, and you watch Ijuru dress himself, secretly enjoying the way the muscles of his back move while he brings his pants up. You close your eyes when he moves to your side table, the sound of a pen on a parchment paper relaxing you. He leans over and presses his lips against your forehead, tugging your blanket up and around your neck. You think about reaching out to him, but before your head can even twitch, he's gone. You spend the rest of the early morning resenting the lack of warmth in the bed. Say Tov. I have some errands to run today, but they shouldn't take too long. I may be back as early as noon. I do have a huge favor to ask of you. A ways outside the temple grounds is a flower named Flirtation, or the golden rose. It's not actually a rose though, it's a red and orange gardenia, with black tips. I ask that you retrieve this flower for me, and if you can, it will mean the world to me. But don't sweat if you can't. I'll be counting the seconds until I can see you again. Ijuru. You smile at your husband's penmanship. His scrawling is messy, much like a boy's, but it's cute. From young ages, nobles in your kingdom start to learn how to write clean and methodically. Your people try to be fanatic in all ways, from dressing in long flowy robes and smooth, glistening gowns to speaking in soft or hushed tones. Chins up and shoulders back, awkward or improper behavior isn't unnecessarily unheard of. At least for the people in the outskirts of your kingdom, but for the most part, acting out of the place is usually frowned upon, and those who dare be less than perfect are harshly judged. But you didn't judge Ijuru. The difference between both of your childhoods is vast. Young following his father around outside, watching him spar, soaking in the details of how exactly to hold weapons, challenging fellow castes to those only to have to chase them around the temple when they don't accept. Smiling to yourself, you fold the letter in half and slip it back into your bag. You move through the forest outside of the temple and bite into a succulent plum that you took from the dining hall while Feria cleared the table, innocently grazing on the unfinished food as she did so. A secret between you and her? You had thought about sticking around to eavesdrop on the draconic conversations just to see how much you understood, but Anya had showed up, asking Feria about your bedsheets of all things. She called you a venti, and you didn't know what that word meant, but rather than dwell on it, you took your leave. Twigs snap under your feet and you're thrilled by the beautiful forest surrounding you. Lush greenery envelops the trees with layers of vines over moss, hugging tightly onto anything they can crawl upon. The air is sweet with blooming fruit flowers, and you find yourself smiling as you collect different herbs and flora sprouting from the ground. It's nearly noon, and haven't yet seen anything that resembled Ijuru's description of the golden rose. But that didn't stop you from enjoying the Fiona. You didn't think he would mind waiting for you too much. The rustling of leaves catches your attention and you spot a red fox digging into the earth. You crouch down to watch the animal dig its snout into a hole and run it at something it can't reach. You fight the urge to help the creature, knowing too well that if you approached it, it would run away, and the forest had a natural order of things. If the fox can get its treat when it's meant to be, then it was meant to be for something else. And suddenly, the ground shakes and you watch the fox scamper away. The earth moves rhythmically and you grab a hold onto some vines to keep yourself upright. The forest grows warmer and you start to perspire when a giant red-scaled leg crashes down through the trees. Dragon's head bows down, snarling as his jaw snaps away at vines tangling in its teeth. Giant reptilian eyes find you and you watch his slitted pupils dilate. You remember your husband's words. If one were to approach a dragon without a specified invitation, they would be greatly upset. You bow your own head, more humble than scared than you were the previous day. Ava Yorn Drastic. You reset the greeting you've said in your head about 100 times for when you would come across the dragon again.
Hello, dragon.
He pulls at the rest of the vines and they snap away. You take note of his heavy black nails. They can cut through steel like it's clay. Ijuru made the dragons out to be almost terrifying beasts, and you know not to take what he said lightly. But watching Dragon duck under those low-hanging trees, wings stuck tightly against his body, and getting gravitated by even more vines tangling around him, just made him out to be, well, adorable. Hello, princess. He growls out his greeting, and you're blown away all over again to be speaking an actual real-life dragon. Are you enjoying my castle?
Sassin?
You repeat the word, testing it out on your tongue, and looking around. Forest.
Oxen.
You nod.
Your forest is beautiful.
You didn't say what you were thinking. That the forest belongs to the temple. If anything, the Kirishima people and dragons share the forest through some sort of ancient bond. Dragon's tail swishes back and forth, excited by a compliment, but he snarls back at it when vines start to wrap around him, almost as if they're alive, trying to get him trapped into the forest. You stifled a giggle and held out your hand.
May I help you?
Dragon lets out a low groan and lays on his belly, his head only a handful of centimeters away from you. You smile sweetly at him and walk around his warm body. His vermilion scales seem almost maroon under the shroud of the forest. And when the sun hits them through tiny holes through the branches of leaves, they seem to sparkle when they shine, like twinkling stars in the night sky. You resist the urge to run your hands across them as you make your way to his vine-wrapped tail. Touching a dragon without permission would probably be considered rude. Using a dirk you keep in your bag, and you carefully slice through the thick vines tangled around Dragon's tail. You pull the remaining vines off his tail. Dragon sighs in relief and turns his head back towards you. Krylona, you anchor Vax Veshtak. You don't completely understand what he's saying, but you think he's asking for your speech.
Yup, I'm learning,
you say.
Very slowly.
Dragon blows hot air at you. Temp, Joyce Vax Jen Bam. Vag Versk Renor Bam.
Bam?
You tilt your head. It doesn't sound like an insult, but... Bam. Dragon straightens up, landing both feet in front of him. Mimics you in tilting his head, and the long tongue rolls out of the side of his mouth while he attempts to cross his eyes. You grin up at the steady face before the realization of what he's saying hits you, and you point at him.
Are you calling me stupid?
Dragon shouts out his own growling laughter, standing up, and he palms his front paw down, shaking the ground around you, causing more vines to fall around and wrap his extending wings. Dragon backs up, trying to get away from the entrapment, but he loses his footing and swings down, completely enveloping himself in the forest greenery. You bark out your own laugh, hugging your stomach while you watch Dragon swing around, trying to get himself out of his entanglement.
Look who's Bim now.
Nori Bim Le Pongel Vax, he roars.
Hey, there's no need to be temperamental. Do you want me to help or not?
Moby you thrick gone, he growls, forming his mouth into an O, and a quick blaze shoots out into the vines, igniting them. The flame follows the whirl around until the ropes are ash falling against his body, and he fights his wings back against his body. Some fallen dried leaves catch a flame, but Dragon stops it out immediately and glares back at you.
Catch the whole forest on fire, why don't you?
He cheers back at you, his temper seemingly dwelling. Do you see any fire, princess?
Oh, don't be cute. I'm serious. A big fire in the forest could have an effect on the temple.
Care about the temple?
Of course.
You did. You care about so much there. You're already becoming good friends with Fairy, and you wouldn't want anyone from the temple being distressed. Especially not your prince. You didn't want to imagine his shining ruby irises dimming in disappointment. Not ever.
Well, yeah, I loved it there.
Dragon's eyes widened. Itov, you say? Your breath hitches and your cheeks burn as you wave away what you said.
I misspoke. I meant to say I live there.
With your husband. Is he poking fun at you? You were so suddenly embarrassed. Why are you so suddenly embarrassed?
Yes?
Vi Mardin Wax Presvetov? In love? It's far too early to be saying something like that. There's a smile playing on the dragon's lips. Apparently he's enjoying getting you all flustered. You cross your arms and scold at the beast.
Is Dragon getting Nakai?
Dragon's tail begins to swag again. He really is enjoying this conversation. He extends his front legs out and levels his head with yours. I can be very jealous, Dragon, at times, but you should know that I have a mademoiselle of my own.
Dragons can marry?
For some reason that baffles you. Maybe because of what Mina told you about dragons hoarding maidens back to their golden little caves. You scoff at the thought.
So you don't have a whole bunch of kidnapped maids pampering you? You just have one dragon wife?
Dragon humps back at you, can hear crackling from deep within his throat. Drax's mademoiselle. He considers those words carefully before huffing. I have one fair maiden and she is my wife, not a dragon.
What?
You squawk out. Uncrankly.
You're married to a girl?
He groans and rolls halfway onto his stomach, exposing his cute little dragon belly to you. Is the Princess Nakai?
No, I just think it's weird.
It is not.
Does your wife know that you're out here with me?
An interesting question. Does your husband know that you're out here with Dragon? What business is that of his?
My husband sent me out here to find something. The golden rose.
For the track? You're not far enough to find that.
So you know what is it? Where to find it?
Dragon pushes his head into you, and you give it a pat. The heat of his scales warms your hand and his eyes close as you brush along his scales. I know everything about this land. Do you want me to show you?
Why? You looking to get another dragon wife out of this?
You have left only slightly cautious to be going anywhere with the dragon. We've only just met. I only need one dragon wife. Dragons made for life.
Oh.
Just like the Conics, when I first told you that, it had been a tactic to scare you out before you spent your first night with Ijoru. But for some reason, hearing Dragon saying that made it seem incredibly admirable. He was an animal after all, though some animals were known to be monogamous as well. In southern kingdoms, flightless birds that stuck with one mate their entire lives as well. You're always thought that was very special. Dragon rolls back upright and nods his head to his back. Etervek Shefa sees Spackle. He growls. Is he asking you to get on top of him?
We can walk side by side, right?
The dragon growls back. Etervek Shefa Spackle. Use physique Gonson Vax. You clap your hands together.
I have no idea what you're saying to me.
He huffs and flashes you his long, razor-sharp teeth. Then he did something terrible. His long forked tongue snakes out his mouth and he drags it along the front of your face, laying your bangs up and out of place. You twitch away, face as red as the scales around his body. See goes some Vax. He growls again.
Okay, you know what, Dragon? You win. I'll get on your damn back, but you better not take off flying. I'm not prepared to fall to my own death.
He growls something incomprehensible as you climb on top of him. You grab onto two lumps of his back, ones that almost perfect for riding, and he stands up tall. You brush leaves out of your hair. As you rise above the forest, dragon scales shine under the sun, and you find yourself laying tighter against him comfortably. You're amazed to see so much of your surroundings from so high above, even if you weren't flying. I will not fly if the princess does not wish for it. He hisses, louder now that the two of you weren't barged by the forest. Tis a